Now, that doesn't mean that we can't talk about something that's near and dear to my heart, because I quit university because I hated it. They wanted me to conform to an academic idea that sucked. I left $240,000 a year.
Wow.
Now, my income is like a fraction of that now, so if you want to come up to my vendor table and buy something, I really appreciate it.
Buy more bottles!
However, this is what it feels like. We're all just going to be the same. Everything's going to be fun. No. I'm going to play a little clip for sake of time because I'm starting to realize how much I actually need the hour and a half. The point here being, that's what it feels like. It feels like someone's literally ripping your identity out of your body and throwing it into a vault and making you have to leave it there until you leave work. Every day. However, I have found statistically it is much more entertaining to let employees design their own workspaces. They work better, they work faster, and they make fewer mistakes.
That makes sense.
If you put a bunch of people in cubicles and try to treat them all the same, it doesn't work. If you tell a fish to climb a tree and judge it based on that against a monkey, obviously the monkey's better.
The fish will die.
But if I tell an earth pony to grow food, and I tell a pegasi to monitor the rain and tell them to work together, what do I get? Really fucking tasty carrots. I apologize. That was bad on me. But the point here being that if you let them work together in a way in which you put the optimal person in the place they want to be and let them choose how they do it, and tell them the job just has to get done safely, the job will always be done more efficient than anything you can design, engineer, or otherwise create. An excellent real-world recent example. Yes?
Well, isn't that even true in grade school, too?
Yes! It's true in grade school. Standardized testing has actually pushed the United States statistically back compared to regular testing. I know that's a political statement, but when I objectively compare it to Sweden, whose classroom has zero homework, much more recess time, and actually treats their students like, how do you want to learn?
Yeah.
They have higher scores on our standardized tests.
I'm actually trying to create a school like
However,
Good for you.
Talk to me after.
if you two want to come in, then get in here. I know both of you.
Fine!
Yeah, welcome!
Getting emotionally damaged.
We're going to welcome the chair of Babscon here, who made me make all these panels.
I'm sorry!
And our welcome chef.
Hi.
Let's get it right. The chair of Babscon who got you into ponies in the first place.
Yeah, it's true.
That's a long story. If we have time, I'll tell it. I'll give you a hug without the steel plate because the steel plate will hurt.
That's fine.
Hey, everybody, watch this.
You hurt me every day.
Shots fired.
Now, in the meantime, if I try to engineer something directly, she gave me this example yesterday. Amazon decided to try to make a computer that would standardize its hiring practices, using their past hiring practices.
Yep.
The computer was incredibly sexist. Chose to hire exclusively men because of the language used in the resumes.
Yep.
Wow.
They worked on this project for 7 years.
Yep.
Canned it last week.
Middle class one, but yeah.
You cannot program a computer to make human decisions like that about human people. It doesn't work. It doesn't function. Because it will always select our previous habits that were mistakes.
Yeah.
That we openly admit are mistakes now over what we actually want it to do.
Why do you point at me?
Have I done something wrong?
I love you, and you're a wonderful person. And I actually meant that.
As a,
I wasn't signing something different.
and this, everyone, is what I have to put up with every year.
Well, what do you know?
I've seen me do this where I've talked to someone and actually signed out what I really want to say to them.
Yeah, you did that Friday night.
I was at the Sonia.
Yeah, well, so everyone does that to Sonia.
But in the
we mute
meantime,
ourselves and talk about her behind
that's
her back.
part of my uniqueness of working with things. I'm going to talk with my hands, and you're going to have to deal with it. What I say might not be what I'm saying with my hands at this very moment, but I mean, what are you going to know if you don't know the language? By the way,
screw you.
By the way, you owe me a new sarcasm detector.
Useful invention.
Say two different things.
It requires a very, very special way of manipulating your hands over your mind, so you're letting your subconscious actually control your hands while your mind is actually consciously speaking. Repressing thought, the subconscious, and then letting it do all the stuff while your mouth says what needs to be said. But that's a unique thing of working with me. You'll understand if I like you or not based on what I'm telling you with my hands. Less so than what's actually coming out of my mouth. I'm not actually giving you lip service. I mean what I say. But I'm also saying it because I have to. You're making me conform to it. And my rebellion is to tell you horrible things with my hands that you don't understand.
Well, I think we can all understand the universal term for.
Not really. And I'm not going to teach anybody some bad words right now. However, if I take away the engineering and I simply implement safety features that say you can't do this and this because it's unsafe, and just let people run, I'll give you an example. I used to slot a warehouse full of $2 billion of groceries. This is what I did when I was 22. I was a slotter for C&S Wholesale Grocer in Birmingham, Alabama. $2 billion. They wanted me to design the route for the people doing the work. I said, no, I'm going to design the route as ergonomically as possible to stimulate their own minds to do it. They went, what? So I walked out to all the workers who were all union. I used to be union. I used to do their job. I knew all the shortcuts and everything we actually did to create those shortcuts and told them, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to slot this how I would stack it onto a pallet. Because people assume that you mail grocery stores whole pallets of nothing but green beans. That's not how it works. I send them a case. I then have to stack soda on that same pallet along with the fruit juice that crushes when I step on it. So they have to get really creative. But what I did was I slotted the place how I would want to stack it. I then went to all of them and asked them for modifications. When I was done, they were traveling. There was no more people cutting. Before this, people would cut across multiple aisles to grab a bunch of things they needed to put on the bottom that would optimize it so that the pallet wouldn't collapse and they could do their job faster. When I was done, they were running the exact engineered route. No shortcuts, no cutting out, no going anywhere else. Why? Because I had asked them, how do you want to create your workplace? They're more efficient than anything I can design because they're actively doing it. So, to people who are bosses, let me just tell you this. Walk up to your employees one day, look at them and go, I want this to happen. And then tell them, it's your job. I don't care how you do it, so long as you do it safely and without ruining us. Fine. And let them do it. Let them do it. If they become afraid to approach the idea, no. Tell me why it's a bad idea. Explain to me what we need to do to fix it. Let them do their job how they want. Let them work from home. I mean, I know it probably against a lot of company policy, but the fact of the matter is FaceTime's wonderful, and people who put in FaceTime will get promotions because of interhuman connections. That's an entirely different series. The point is, if you cut out the conformity and just let a person work and get the job done safely, and how it is required by laws to do it, they will stay well within those laws to get it done. Also, hey Spike, thanks for creating your own friendship problem. This is a quick side. You have to balance this as well. You can't let people be all super feely at work. Sometimes they need to shut it off and be robots. Other times you need to embrace your feelings. You can't allow yourself to completely polarize them. You have to cut some things off simply because they either hurt too much or they cause you to stop being functional. Thorax. However, if you feel nothing... Hey, Amber, can you fix that, please? Just a little bit. If you don't empathize with people and what they're going through. Example, right now, one of my editors, I'm not going to say his name, is currently on leave. He just ended a 3-year relationship with his fiancée.
Oh.
If I really wanted to, by dead to rights according to the law, I should fire him because he hasn't actually produced any work for me in a month. He's supposed to produce at least one piece of writing that I hand him, re-edited back to me every 2 weeks. However, if I have the empathy to understand how that would affect me, why am I pushing him to a norm I won't keep for myself? I'm not going to be Ember, but I am going to give him some time to process. I'm going to give him a due date because a due date will force him out of that habit. But I'm not going to just be cold-hearted and tell him, go away. That's dumb. I lose a good editor that way. It's a lot harder to find good people than it is to keep the ones you have and just work them through their problems. Well, that don't hurt anybody, right?
Those are the worst.
It's you.
Oh, that's
Wait! I know now that I should have been honest with you from the start, because lying to your friends is wrong. And because getting rid of all those pies was a giant hassle. Yes, I know exactly how they have a very detailed pie list.
Oh, boo!
But it's me. I thought the hassle was worth it just to spare your feelings.
She built entire contraptions to get rid of pie.
Oh, yeah.
That took hours of engineering.
Well, I guess I made it for me to eat in front of you. Point is, I'm eating.
Also, this is Rainbow Lesbian Horse who screamed at some point in the episode, I don't like pie! I could read a whole other subtext into this.
The pies you made for me in the past. So instead, I'm gonna eat this giant one for you now. So here I go.
Oh,
I'm not that mean. Not that mean. Some of us have just eaten dinner, not me.
Oh.
Not that mean.
Oh.
Does it truly never do any harm to say little white lies?
It doesn't seem like that at first, but over time,
Over time, it builds up. Over time, you build an emotional capacity that overflows. Starlight repressing anger. We went over this. You being dishonest, the show teaches us, is going to eventually lead to Rainbow Dash eating a pie made of concrete.
Oh.
Are you sheltering your friends or your kids? No!
No.
You're really not. How traumatic was it when somebody told you Santa Claus wasn't real?
Very, very traumatic.
for like 5 minutes it was traumatic, and I know.
The point is, it was like getting hit by a freight train. Now, while I don't want to necessarily ruin the magic of Christmas, statistically speaking, kids who aren't lied to about mythos that doesn't really exist, such as Santa Claus, when they grow up, are more mature and easily able to be more honest with others. Because they were taught from a very early age, it's not okay to say, it's not okay to tell a lie. Even little ones, or even lies that are meant to not harm anyone, are actually causing slight problems with our society that we should maybe look at.
So we shouldn't let kids believe in Santa Claus?
You should let them believe as long as they want. But the moment someone tells them that it's not a real thing, you shouldn't try to cover it up. You should lay it bare and be honest. Let them have the magic until it's gone, and as soon as it's gone, explain to them why you did it. Be honest with them. Share your feelings, because you want to know something silly? Little kids understand us better than we do.
Oh, hallelujah!
This is that sibling.
If I'm sad, A kid won't ask why. She'll just come up and hug my leg.